Hi, friends. I am Tosh. You are watching Unwritten Rules of the Road. We are joined today by John Calacci. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, believe me, it's my pleasure.
So, you have quite a deep history in the music industry. Um, yeah, when you shared like all the people that you had worked with, I was completely blown away. I was like, wow, you worked with them and you've worked with them. If it's okay, I wanted to start at the beginning because I saw that your first thing that you had listed was mixing sound. So you worked as a sound engineer to start off.
Yeah, so I was in college. I was 17 in college and I was a music lover since I was a little kid. So, that is my background there. But I was in college and I met a buddy whose buddy was in a band, and I went along to see them play, even though I was way too young to be in the bars. But I'd looked at, so I was okay. But I looked over. So I went and they go, "Yeah, would you want to be our sound guy?" And I go, "Yeah, I've never done it, but I'll learn." So that's what it was. And the great thing was the three guys, in three of the four guys in the band were leftovers from a band called Fuse, which, if anybody knows Cheap Trick history, Rick and Tom come from. That was their first big band that did an album on Epic Records back in the day. So, so after they broke up, Rick and Tom went off and started Cheap Trick, and these guys just wanted to be like a high-end cover band, so that's what they were. And so, yeah, that was my first. So I just learned, and it was a little tiny PA. It wasn't like a big deal. It was three-piece band, um, but and I just grew with that through the years with different bands, and the same guy who I met in college. Every band he was in, I mixed their sound, and then yeah, just and it was a kind of a weekend warrior thing for the most part because once I graduated from college, I was an insurance agent. As horrible as that sounds, for several years just to make a living because you get out of college and you need a real job. So that's what I did.
Hmm.
But so I called it suit and tie during the week and jeans and t-shirt in the weekends kind of thing for years. And then to fast forward, one of the bands, this guy was not in, but last one of the bands I mixed in the early 80s, it's called EIEIO, which had done a record on Frontier Records. And Spock, I don't know if you know who Spock was. Spock was a industry person, and she was sort of managing EIEIO and got us the tour opening for the Bangles in this is 1986. And it was kind of a college tour and stuff, and EIO was kind of a college radio friendly band. So, anyways, we were only supposed to do a couple weeks. They loved us, um, and then asked us to do the next 4 weeks. So we ended up doing 6 weeks. So I quit my job as an insurance agent to do this tour, not knowing what was coming next. That whole tour, and I helped the girls because they were having a little trouble getting to their bus and stuff, and they were getting big at that point, and Walk Like an Egyptian and the other songs from that record were got them much bigger than they had been. And so they asked me for their next tour, which is 1987, if I wanted to be their touring security, head of security. So I said, yeah. I don't have a job, I own a house that I need to pay for, so yeah. So that's how that started. And then I did that for the next few years, 87, 88, 89, and then they broke up at the end of 89. So that was that with that. Um, but that was 3 great years. And and when Eternal Flame got huge, um, we had finished a whole U.S. tour. Girls were exhausted. We're in Florida at some record company uh, big event, and of course all the record companies there, and they're like, because Eternal Flame was huge in Europe, right? It was number one. And they wanted to keep it going, so they're like begging the girls to go do a press tour, and they're like, no, 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 we're too tired. We just want to go home. What do you want? What do you need? It's like, we'll fly you on the Concorde, right? Which the Concorde was a supersonic jet back then. They don't have anymore. Um, you can bring your boyfriends. it'll be carte blanche. Everything, no matter what you want, it's paid for, covered, right? So they decided to go, and of course the crew doesn't go, but I got to go because I was still their bodyguard, security guy, whatever. So that was 3 weeks in Europe. It was London, Amsterdam, and Madrid. Weirdly, were the three
Hmm.
cities, but it's a week in each one. We're staying at like the Ritz Carlton in Madrid, and they were serious about the carte blanche thing because it was we it was an expensive place to stay, number one, and but we'd eat in the restaurant and we'd be sending $500 bottles of wine to each other, that kind of thing. So we were milking it and having a
Wow.
blast. So that was a great year. And then actually that was '88 because '89 was the big tour, big tour, big tour, and then no, it was '89, and then we did another tour, and then that was it. The Bangles broke up. So and then I'm just rambling, but I'm just kind of going through the years.
Yeah.
So stop me whenever you want.
No, no,
Um,
this is amazing.
so this is like November, I think, of '89, and then in later that even I think in December I got a call from Steve Botting, who was the production manager, also sound guy, front of house sound guy for the Bangles. Also married, he married Debbie, the drummer. So and I went to that wedding too. That was in England. That was, but anyways, so he called me. He said, "I'm going to be working with this band. Do you want a drum tech or something?" I go, "Yeah, sure." I go, "Who is it?" And it was Nirvana, right?
Wow.
But the tour never happened because Kurt got sick and canceled, so that didn't happen. But then he's like, "Well, I'm doing another tour starting in April, something March, April. It's with this newish artist, Sinead O'Connor." And he goes, Do you want to be head of security? I go, "Yeah, I'd love to." So this is where it gets really, really kind of strange because I had the gig, and then I get a call. Well, she'd rather have a woman security person.
Mm.
Okay, can't, whatever. And then, well, she can't find one, so I think you've got the gig again. And then a few weeks later, well, she doesn't feel like she really needs one. And I'm like going, okay. I go, look, try this. I said, tell them the tour started in Atlanta. I said, tell them to fly me out to Atlanta. I'll spend a week doing the job. If they decide she doesn't want me, doesn't need me, fly me home. You don't pay me for that week, right?
Hmm.
So flew me out at the hotel. All the band and crew were in the bar. Of course, it's the start of the tour, and I meet her, and the tour manager asked me to take her shopping. So I take her to the Underground Mall in Atlanta, and I'm not one of the security guys that's like on top of you. I'm not, I'm way different than a lot of them that I've met, and a lot of them were. And she was used to these guys in England that would had the radios here and like, okay, we're coming around
Yeah.
the corner, we're doing this. She hated that. She hated
Yeah.
anything celebrity. Like she wouldn't ride in a limo, all this stuff. So she hated all that.
Hmm.
But I was just like this dude, walking along with her, right? Anyways, take her to the mall. She goes in a store. I just waited outside, just kind of walking along, and we get back to the hotel. I'm there talking to some of the other guys, meeting them, and the tour manager comes up and she goes, "You got the gig." So I didn't have to like audition for a week. It was like a 20-minute audition. So, anyways, and that was an incredible year too. But I'll let you ask questions because I'm just rambling on now. So
No, that's
go ahead. What
I
else? What
I
do you want to know?
I'm well, I'm loving that it's like you started off in one sector and it was just sort of like natural transitions that happened. And it seems like it happened from friends that were like, "Oh, I know John." Obviously, your work probably spoke for itself, where they were like, "He's
Well,
a great person to work with," right?
yeah. Well, the thing too is that's how this business works. It's who you know, who you've worked with, who likes the job you did, and if they'll recommend you or if they'll bring you along. That's what Steve Botting did. He brought me along, which I'm forever grateful for. And I don't know if you noticed in the messages he wrote boring, right? And I wrote, that's I said, is that your new last name? So he's British. we take the piss out of each other all day long. It's so, but so, and I'm mentioning him a lot, so he won't think it's so boring if he's listening. But anyway, but so yeah, that's how it kind of works. And I've actually done it all. I've mixed sound, I've drum teched, guitar teched, keyboard, bass teched, whatever. It's all just what it is. And did security for many many years, and then um, tour managing for many many years. So yeah, it's 50 some years in the business. Do I look that old?
Wow.
Mm. So
Well, that's amazing. That's
yeah,
really amazing that you've had that career for that long.
yeah. So what else do you want to know? Was
Well,
Sinead great?
I mean, I'm sure she was,
Oh,
right?
she was amazing. I would literally, so I'm at the side of the stage for every show, and she would always look over at me after a song or two and ask me if it's okay. And of course, I would make her laugh by saying, no, it stinks or whatever. Um, but literally, I'd be standing there and the hair on my arms would stand up the way from her singing. It's just, otherworldly. So, but yeah, she treated me like a king. I mean, I was her by her side night and day, basically, and couldn't have been sweeter, funnier, um, just so humble. And I mean, my favorite story is when I first met her, and one of the first things we did was we're supposed to do Saturday Night Live. This is the first one where Andrew Dice Clay was supposed to be the host, right? So she said she wasn't going to do it because he was too much of a pig, basically, a
Mm.
misogynist pig. So she said, I'm not going to be on the same show with this guy, blah, blah. So, um, anyway, so, and she had her 3 year old with us on tour, Jake. So she wanted to go uh, find the toy shop. So we're in New York City, and I take her to the store to get toys and stuff, and she paid whatever she bought with $100 bill. So she had like $70 in change, right? And the first homeless person she saw when she walked out of the store, she gave it to him. So I was just like, okay, I like her. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, and that was an interesting whole thing, anyways. And then the other times at Saturday Night Live too were also very interesting. But yeah, I know Sinead passed away not too long ago, and I'd spoken to her right before that, and we kept in touch through the years. And I saw her 2 or 3 times through the years, but she was always she changed her phone number or her email every 5 minutes. So she'd give me it, and then I'd try it, wouldn't be worthless. So I'd have to like somehow get a hold of her again, whatever. But yeah, she was planning on maybe coming out to LA and living here, living out her retirement years, as she called it. She said,
Mm.
I should be in the sun, not in this. She was in London. She had moved to London.
Yeah.
So that was a heartbreaker for me, for sure. So,
Yeah.
like, but,
She
but yeah,
sounds like she was a very down to earth person.
she was, like I say, she refused to get in a limo. She would literally like make the band take the limo, and she would take the band crew, the band van or whatever else it was.
Hmm.
And so, um, but yeah, that was just it. Yeah, it was a hard year, and the Bangles too. There were times, just doing security, like people really like getting where they shouldn't be and doing things, saying things, whatever there shouldn't be. So people always ask me like, "What's your qualifications?" And I just go, "Well, how to get out of situations without making a mess or hurting anybody or this and that." Um, the second thing was I wrestled in high school, so I could I
Yeah.
could I could put somebody in a hold and just get them out because that's what you want. You're not. It's not a fist fight you're looking for or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a funny story too. I actually interviewed when I first moved to LA. I actually flew out early for the interview. It was with Black Crows, and it was basically to be what's his face, the singer's bodyguard while they're
Hmm.
recording in the studio. But basically, it was to drive him around. And I told him this too when I met him. I said, uh, I said, yeah, you just need somebody to drive you around and get you out of your bar fights because he was getting in a lot of bar fights and stuff back then. And there's all these like big muscle guys that were waiting to interview too, right? Like big, weightlifter dudes and stuff. And the manager's like, yeah, you're different than the rest of these guys. I said, well, yeah, I am. So I do my job a different way. But I said, if you're looking for somebody to be his bouncer and just go around and break up and finish his fights, I go, it's not me. You know, I'm not in it for that. And I would do a tour, but I'm not going to just drive him around LA and stuff like that. So that was pretty funny. And then he asked me, actually asked me, him and his brother were there. He goes, asked me if I could know how to roll a joint, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I didn't want the gig, so I said, well, I probably could, do that, but I'm not going to.
Yep.
That was my answer, but I'm not going to. Like, I'm not your slave, Come on.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
but I told him about we had a laugh about it years later when I was with the
Yeah.
Long Ryders. About that. But anyways, so what else would you like to know?
I was curious
Oh,
about the album. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, you had a.
well, I could finish with so Sinead, like that year, and then the next year, Susanna Hoffs asked me if I would come with her on her press tour for her first solo album that was coming out after,
Mhm.
in 1991. But going back to the Sinead thing, one of the incredible things we did was Amnesty International concert in Santiago, Chile. So
Wow.
that was cool in itself. But and it was only about 6 months after Pinochet had been ousted as dictator, so it's still a very sketchy, hairy place to be. So they had us sequestered in our hotel, almost like we're jurors or something, with machine guard cops outside, and we couldn't go anywhere without a whole patrol of you know policemen, Chilean policemen. So, but so the
Wow.
only people, so the people in the show, well, there's two nights. One was like New Kids on the Block and all these other, you know, type bands, and then our night was Sting, Peter Gabriel, Jackson Brown, and Sinead were the four main acts, and it was very heavy because it was in the big soccer arena wherever where Pinochet had tortured and murdered many of the his whatever opponents, whatever.
Yeah.
And so there was a whole thing where all the of those mothers and wives of those people were on stage at one point too. So it was like this
Mm.
very heavy thing. But during the week, it was there for a whole week. It was just us in the hotel, right? So it was we hung out, we all had dinner together and stuff. And one of the days, I told my girlfriend Tanya that she hates when I tell this story because she thinks it's too name droppy. But um, Um, so uh, Sinead wanted to play tennis, and there was clay courts, which were cool. And I played tennis, and of course she didn't. But she walks out in her Doc Martens and stuff, and trying to hit the ball and clay. And so we're just goofing around, and a couple of other guys, Dean and Mark in the band, were playing too, but nobody could really play, right? And so we're just hitting the ball around, and next to us was. And the other court right next to us was Sting and his tour accountant Goon, who actually ended up going to prison for many years for embezzling millions of dollars of
Wow.
Sting's money. And then
Oh
the
my
other
gosh.
side was Peter Gabriel and I don't remember but Sting's tour managers
Hmm.
was the fourth. So anyways, and we're just out there, and the tour manager goes, "I got to go do some work." So he walks off, and I forget which one looked over and said, "Does anybody want to be a fourth?" Right? And I go, "I'll play." So I went and played, and it was hilarious. And it was me and Peter Gabriel against Sting and Goon. And Peter and I were about equal. I was a little bit better. Um, so, and we played for 2 days. And of course, it's 1990, so there's no phones or nobody's bringing a camera, so there's no like here's us playing tennis or anything. But it's just like
Hmm.
it was pretty surreal, and it's clay courts, and you got the snow-capped Andes in the background, and it's just kind of this whole who gets to do this, right? So it's one of those things. Same things like flying the Concorde. Like, who gets to do that, especially on somebody else's time, right? This is a $5,000. This is back in 1980, whatever, 89. One way is 5,000. So just stuff like that you get to do if you're in the right place with the right people, kind of thing. So, but anyways, and then Susanna, that whole thing right after that. So it's like one thing after another, which is pretty rare because usually there's a
Hmm.
pretty good sized gap. This was just like Sinead decided she was done. We were supposed to do Australia, and I'd never been. I wanted to go, so she canceled that tour in November, and December, Susanna called me and said, "Yeah, I'm doing this press tour for my first record, and I want you to come with me." So we did U.S., Canada, um, Japan, Australia, and Europe in 3 months,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so I got to go all over the world, and it was again basically carte blanche. We had because the record company was again still feeding off Eternal Flame, and we really want to keep the momentum going, whatever. So yeah, I spent a fortune on us doing this press tour, and then like I say, it was you know wine and dining with the record company and just beautiful hotels. And I would I would jog with Sue every morning, no matter how I felt, because she would go to bed early. I wouldn't.
Hmm.
I'm in Paris. I'm gonna go have fun, right? but
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, one night the drivers, because we have them 24/7, they go, let me take you to a club. So Sue's in bed. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and we get in the car, the limo, and he takes me to this club. It's called the Bandouche, which at the time was like this very famous club that all the models in Paris would go to. That was their hang, right? And he pulls up, and at the time I had long hair and black long jacket and whatever, and he pulls up, gets out. It's a Mercedes limo, and he pulls out and he goes up to the doorman. As people are waiting to get in, and he's like, "I've got this rock star from America that I want to get in." And so we get right in, and I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, these are the beautiful people, and I don't belong here." So everyone drank and left. It was that
Yeah.
not intimidating, just like, yeah, I've seen her, all these models. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is this isn't me, but it was
Yeah.
still pretty cool. Anyways, so um, yeah, I had to get up at like 6 in the morning after being out till 3 in the morning and jog, and I barely made it without losing my cookies along the Seine River. So that
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
okay, yeah, I can't do that if I'm gonna have to do this. So, but the rest of it was just fun, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then she goes, yeah, I'm doing a summer shed tour with opening for Don Henley, and I go, she goes, but I wish I could bring you, but I can't really afford a security person, And I said, well, I'll drum tech and whatever. And she goes, oh, okay. So and that was my actually first foray at that, right? And I play guitar and stuff, so I'm not a real musician, but I play. And anyway, so I ended up that was my first foray into that kind of thing, and I did that whole tour, and again that was a blast. I mean, Don Henley's band was great. He was great. His big sheds sold out, and Susanna did really well. She killed it, and she even had Rusty Anderson, who's guitar player, been played with Paul McCartney for the last 20 some years at least, something like that. So he was a guitar player, so really top notch band and young guys with long hair kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun. And I gotta get some water. Anyways, so that was 3.5 months of that, and then
Yeah.
I decided I'd move to LA because I'm from Rockford. So yeah, okay, there's not much for me to do here, and the business is out there. And the old tour manager, and he actually managed the Bangles for a while, Ian Lloyd Bisley, um, had a house in Woodland Hills, and he said, "Yeah, you can stay at my house." And I'm in Europe. He's been taking care of Krista Berg, who a couple other hits, but anyways, he's huge in Europe. So he was gone for almost 5 years, all but like a few months, and so I got to live in this nice little house in Woodland Hills with a pool for 5 years for next to nothing. So
Wow.
that was pretty sweet. And then that's when I got back into mixing because tours weren't coming up and whatever. So I just started mixing showcases. And Meredith Brooks was a friend of the girl I was seeing at the time, and I mixed some of her showcases. And do you know who she is?
Mm-mm. I don't.
She had a hit, "I'm a Bitch," or that was her song. It's been a while. I know you're much younger, but she had a kind of a hit at that, and she was great too. Had a great band. Um, and this guy Rob Loffer did his showcase, and he got signed. And who I didn't see for 20 years, and then I've been working with him quite a bit the last 10, 15 years again. So doing charity stuff. We do a lot of charity stuff
Yeah.
too. So, um, so doing that for a while, and then there's a I was tour managing E um, when before the Eels, right before the Eels stuff, and then there's a gap, and then Bangles got back together in 1999 to record a song for uh, Austin Powers movie, I think the second movie, and they decided they were going to tour again. So I was right back in at that point. Um, Again, doing backline stuff at that point,
Hmm.
because that's all they needed at that point. And so I'm doing that uh, since then. But so we had a tour manager and managers, different managers for a few years here and there, and then 2003 or four, somewhere in that point, um, they handed the reins to me. I said, "Yeah, I can do it. Let me do it." You know, and it's so tour managing now at that point is the hardest job, but it's also good to be in charge. So that's
What
the
exactly is tour managing, actually, if you could share
tour,
that?
if I had to give my definition, it's wearing many hats. You're an accountant, you're a babysitter, you're a bartender sometimes, um, and you're I don't say a judge, but you have to break up disputes and things like that, or just decide, okay, this isn't working. We need to do this. Um, and then so the Bangles for years, I always just signed my emails "Dad" because it's basically like being the dad, right? You're the dad. So, um, but yeah, but yeah, and um, booking, not booking agent, but a travel agent. So because I did all my own, I didn't use travel agencies. I did all the booking of flights and hotels myself because I knew what everybody wanted, and um, got the best hotels, and got to a point where I could you know have relationships with different hotels and always get like great rooms at great rates in really nice hotels, and so that kind of thing. And then everybody's flight preferences were and stuff like that, and I didn't trust anybody else to do it right. So it's a lot of
Mm.
work, but then you like I say, you're in charge. You have your hand on everything, so you know it's right and you know it's how you want it. So, and I've met so many tour managers. Everybody does it differently.
Yeah.
Every tour manager is completely different. Some are way hands off. Some are way like me. There's a few that like me that do everything, and so. But yeah, it is a hard job, and when things go wrong, you're the dad. When things go right,
Mm.
they just went right. You don't get as many. Oh, you did a great job as hey, this didn't work out, or that was I didn't like this. So you got to be pretty thick skinned, and you just got to trust. I mean, it takes a strong personality too, because some people try to walk all over you. I've had artists kind of that I've only worked with for a short time that kind of like tried to treat me a little differently, and
Mm.
as long as they weren't out of line, fine. But if somebody like there's certain things you can't do with me, especially having done security too, right? I mean, I know how to deal with things without causing too many ruffles, but I don't take anything from anybody.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
even tell people, I go, I wouldn't let my mom and dad talk to me like that, and you're certainly not going to talk to me like
Mm.
that. And
Yeah.
if you want me to leave, I'll leave because what you're doing right now is making me unhappy, and I do it. And I literally turned down some after working with somebody years of very lucrative 6 figure a year kind of employment. Not worth it
Yeah.
for me. For
Yeah.
some people,
Yeah.
and other people that have worked with this person, I don't want to mention who it is, but had completely different. They were like, whatever you need, I'll take care of
Mm-hmm.
it. You can talk to me any way you want. And I'm just the opposite. I will do everything the way you want it. I'll do it right. And, but you're not going to treat me horribly. You're just not,
Yeah.
you know, you
Yeah.
find somebody else you want to talk to like that. It's not me. I've always been happy with what I'm doing until I'm not. Like that one time,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm done. See ya.
Yeah.
You know, but like I say, passing up a lot of work, but sometimes it's just not worth it. And
Well,
I
I
did
think
this.
it keeps you happy then, like you were
Yeah,
saying.
and
Yeah.
I do this. I love music. I love
Mm-hmm.
music. I have since I was a little kid. I mean, I look at some of the 45s I had, and they're like really good, advanced music for a little kid. You know, if I mention the bands, you're gonna go, "How? Who's that?" But even like bands like the Yardbirds and stuff like that were like this British blues with had Clapton and Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page playing guitar with them through the years. I had the 45s and all that stuff as a whatever a 9-year old, whatever I was at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's just, yeah, music was my life from being a little kid. So being around it and it makes me happy until I'm not.
I yeah,
Which
no,
is rare. Which
that's
is rare. Like
awesome.
it's like the
Yeah.
Bangles, we're like family. We just are, and it's so comfortable, and so it's been very, very, very fortunate. But I think you make some of your own fortune by
Mm-hmm.
being good at what you do and being, you know, nice and care and take care of things. But there's a lot of luck involved too. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
working with Sinead, you're frozen, or we're both frozen.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
um,
Um,
I hear you.
do you see we're frozen?
I'm not frozen, but I
Yeah,
think
I hear you
you are
too. But
frozen.
we're both frozen.
Are we?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
frozen on my screen. So, anyways, Scott, I don't know if
Yeah, I'm here.
it might be my Wi-Fi. I don't know because
Yeah, I think
I'm way up
if
in the
you
hills with.
yeah, if you want to turn it off and then turn back the video, it'll probably unfreeze. We try that.
Speaking of behind the scenes techs, three cheers for Scotlandus for helping us with our tech.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Always happy to be here.
Yes.
Just
Am I still frozen?
no, you're
Or is
good.
that just John?
You're good.
Well, I'll take a second to say thank you everyone for hanging out with us. I'm loving seeing some people that know John and our friends that are new to John. So yeah, when he gets back on, I'll relay some of these questions that I'm seeing in the chat. But thank y'all so much for hanging out with us and bearing with us while we're figuring out the tech stuff. I'm sure John's probably just restarting. Yeah. I love what Pete Resso is saying. I love living in the future, but we lost something. Also, hello. You have to have been there and be in the moment. Yes, and we'll ask John about this question. According to Henry Rollins, tour manager is the parent. Yes, I would definitely attest to that. Being the tour manager myself for my band. Yes. Um, yes. Scott's getting some love in the chat. Thank you, Scott, for saving
I
our
think
lives once again with your
I
cape
think this is my first time I've ever been
on
on
the
the screen.
spot.
Oh,
Yes.
You want to try your video again, John?
yeah.
There we go.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was just
Yay.
texting like, okay, what do we do?
Yeah, you're good.
It might be my Wi-Fi. I'm guessing. Like I said,
I noticed that your voice was cutting out like once in a while, like not too often,
okay.
but it's fine. Yeah, I think
Okay.
you're all right.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, like I said, I'm up in the hills and my Wi-Fi is satellite-ish, so it's not super great. So,
Well,
should
it
we
seems,
continue?
I think, yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
Actually wanted to, there's a few questions that came in the chat.
Sure.
Um, so, Pete Russo is saying, according to Henry Rollins, tour manager is the parent. Is that accurate?
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
Yes, the
saying.
dad.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And not to put musicians down, all of you, but there's quite a few. They're like children, you know. And a
Hmm.
lot of times, like, what do I do? How do I do this? And you're like, really? Okay, you know what I mean. So not all, but and it's cute, and you know what? And that's to me, that's the job. The job is to make sure everybody's okay and everybody's comfortable and everybody gets what they need and everybody hears what they need to hear and all that, all of it, all of it. That's just it. It's all encompassing. And
Yeah.
and going back even in my touring security bodyguard days, like especially like the British crews, they're always like really like they want to bust your nuts, right? So Sinead's crew was always like give me a hard time. I went, look, I've done every one of your jobs before, and I've done them well. So if you want
Mm.
to make fun of me, they call me Mr. White Glove, right? Because you walk in, you're
Hmm.
not doing gear, you're not doing any stuff like that. And then I'd always bring them a beer or a drink or something, like while they're setting up.
Yeah.
Then they stopped giving me shit, right? So again, you got to use this once in a while just to make things go well. So
I
yeah,
love that you've played those different roles, so you have a very deep knowledge of how things run
well,
and how all the
yeah.
wheels turn together.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I've wired up PAs. I've done, So my only problem now is people go, "Can you mix this?" And I'm like, "I'm an analog guy, man. I have never worked a digital board, and if you gave me an analog board, yeah, I could do it in a minute, you know." And I've done studio work and I've mixed my own stuff. I do some music and stuff like that. So, but but being on a digital board is just it would take me too long to learn it on the spot. If somebody goes, "Yeah,
Hmm.
can you mix this show?" And and I'm you kind of moved on from that, anyways. Yeah, I will tour manage. Or, I mean, lately I've been working with Peter Asher, who's quite famous old gentleman who had a group called Peter and Gordon back in the '60s, and Peter ended up. Well, first of all, Peter grew up with Paul McCartney, living in his house for a few years while Paul was dating Jane Asher, his sister. So he's got that. But then Paul McCartney gave him a song, "World Without Love," that was a big hit for them. And anyways, then Peter went on to was head of Apple A&R for Apple Records when they first started, and then he ended up managing and producing Linda Ronstadt, James Taylor, um, artists like that. And through the years, he's won many Grammys and done all kinds of stuff. But anyways, so he does shows where he plays these songs that they had and tells all the stories about all the other artists that he's worked with and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm doing lately. So it's not really tour managing. But I'm kind of dealing with all kinds of factions of what's going on with the shows and this and that. So um,
Mm.
that's fun. And he's a gentleman. He's a sweetheart and a really very very smart man who has again done it all as well. So it's nice. It's nice to work with classy people. Let me put it that way for sure.
We're
Um,
seeing a Cosmo Topper's 88 Keys saying our Wild Honey Orchestra shows run like clockwork thanks to John.
yeah, they just call me the coolest guy in the room is the thing because so yeah, I was saying we do these charity things, which Wild Honey is a great charity that works with autism, childhood autism, and research and that. And we do these shows that end up being epic shows. We do backyard shows to be these epic shows with like 70, 80, and massaging, you know, egos for that many people. It's a huge, huge undertaking, but the shows end up being epic. And we did a show with, again, I'll be talking about bands that were way before your time, but the Love and Spoonful, which had a million hits, right? We actually got three, John Sebastian and two of the other guys from the original band to do the show, which we'd always try to get maybe one person. So we did a whole Love and Spoonful concert with actually three out of the four. The fourth one had passed away years earlier,
Mm.
um,
Hmm.
who had never played together in like 40, 50 years, something like that. So they're really special, cool events. and we've done a bunch of Beatles ones, Kinks, um, who else? The band. We actually got Garth Hudson, the original keyboard player from the band, to show up, and he passed away, I think, now, but this is several years ago. It's like 7 years ago. He came and just blew it away. It was incredible. So things like that. So, and they're we used to do them at Alex Theater in Glendale, which is good sized theater and that. So, but yeah, just having that many people, and then when they bring their guests, so backstage ends up being like 200 people, and I'm kind of
Wow.
in charge of that not getting too out of control and stuff like that. So, anyways, but a lot of people put a lot into it. I'm not. I don't make it all happen. That's for sure. I just on the day I make things go smoothly, which helps.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and that feels good too. It just feels good again around great music and stuff, and it's fall. Nobody's getting paid, um, but it's really fulfilling to give
Yeah.
back, so to speak.
Well,
And
I
I know
actually had.
Cosmo's great. He's a great musician himself. I figured
That's
friends would be
awesome.
would be chiming in.
Oh yeah, we're getting some really sweet love from different people. Denise Whitfield, by the way, John C is such a great guy.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you all for
Denise runs
joining us.
the Bangles uh, Facebook fan, the one's been around for years. Return Post, which she does a great
Oh,
job at.
that's
The funny thing
awesome.
is, I see all my pictures. So I was one that took pictures back in the '80s, right? And
Hmm.
the webmaster way back when took my whole photo album, scanned every picture. So I go, wait a minute, that's my picture. I took that. That's my picture. That comes up all the time. Not just there, but it pops up everywhere. Um, so it's kind of funny. So I guess I shared it with the world without knowing that that's what was going to happen. So, anyways, but yeah, Denise is great too. What else you got?
So Dusty is actually asking if you have any Spinal Tap slash Tony Hendra type stories or Oasis like infighting siblings type stories or anything like that that you can share.
Uh, no, well, I actually have a real Spinal Tap stories. My friend Deborah Dobkin was slated to play drums with Spinal Tap at what was the theater? One of the theaters. It was um, a women's choice type event, and Sean Colvin but Spinal Tap was one of them. It's kind of unplugged, and Heart,
Hmm.
the girls from Heart,
Wow.
Ann and Nancy were there as well. So, and Deborah actually was going to play with both of them. But anyway, so the three guys show up in costume, in character, never broke character, and it was hilarious. It was just
Wow.
hilarious to hang out with them and be the drum tech for Spinal Tap for 5 minutes. um, but yeah, uh, not not really. You try to avoid all those things. The fighting, no, nobody I've ever worked with fought with each other.
Hmm.
Um, and I make sure if my crew is not getting along, I straighten them out right away, you know, as we can't have that, you know.
Yeah.
So, but no, um, I mean, yeah, me getting yelled at by somebody and me saying you don't get to do that. That
Hmm.
happened. If you want,
Yeah.
that's a good story. Again, I'm not going to bring up names because I don't
Yeah.
want to out anybody. And the person is incredible artist, incredible artist. I don't take crazy, you know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
or just things that don't make sense that are in some way pretty smooth, you know.
Yeah.
I did a 3 month tour with Belinda Carlisle,
Hmm.
and it was basically her and I in a van, and then the band and crew and in another van, and it was great. She's really sweet, um, very smart, and I had to give her something to do because we had long drives, and I said, do me a favor and navigate. She said, oh, I'd love to, which is like, you know. So because I was driving a van, I didn't have my car with the GPS thing in there, so we had to use our phones. And so she was a great navigator. So, and that gave her something to do other than stare out the window and stuff. But yeah, she was great to work with, and great performer and stuff too. So that was cool. Yeah, I've turned down stuff that I know I wouldn't like to do, and that's a nice uh, thing to be able to do sometimes, but not always. But like I said, I'd rather not do anything than do something that I'm not going to enjoy. So no matter
Yeah.
that, and in this life, another thing that I learned early on is save your money, because there are
Mm.
rainy days, rainy months, even rainy years. Like I'll look at my income and I'll go, oh wow, that was a bad year. But you survive because you save money from the good years, you know? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other good questions from people?
It's oh, they're all great questions. They're all great questions. Um, well, there's actually one that says, as someone having run security, you must have had some crazy situations throughout the years. Can you talk about some of the craziest situations that you've had to diffuse?
I would love to. So I had many actually. um, some were ended up kind of funny. Um, First one that pops in my head is Bangles. We're in Iowa, in Ames, Iowa, playing the college, and because Ames is not a big metropolitan city, and so we had our tour buses, and we're at basically more like a motel, um, and I'm checking, and I see college kids, aged kids. I don't know if they're college kids, but five or six guys trying to look in the windows and stuff and find out where the Bangles are, because our tour buses are right there, so they know we're there. So I decide to confront them, and there's like I think there's like five of them, and I just walked up to them and I go, "Excuse me, are you gentlemen?" I thought exactly what I thought. Are you gentlemen staying in the I call it a hotel, staying in the hotel? And they go, "Yeah."
Hmm.
I go, "Well, I need to see your keys." And they go, I go, without missing a beat, I go, "That's what I thought." I'm gonna do you guys a favor. I go, "I've already called the cops," which I hadn't. I've already called the
Hmm.
cops. I'm guessing you got 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get out of here. So I'm doing you a favor and letting you know that. Otherwise, you're gonna be arrested for trespassing and for peeping into windows. And I'll try to keep it clean, but they're like, "Yeah, who the fuck are you? What are you gonna do?" Like, and I go, "Well, I'll tell you what." I go, "There's five of you. There's one of me." I go, "I promise you, if this goes down, at least three of you are going to the hospital.
Hmm.
You're going to get me because there's five of you, but I promise you, three of you are going to the hospital before that happens. So stop talking and let's do this."
Hmm.
They walked away. And I go, "That's what I thought." But I took a chance because, you know, I made them think like, what does this guy know that we don't know? Or I don't want to get hurt. But
Hmm.
again, so that was a
Yeah.
good one. Um, Again, I could have got killed, of course. But a
Oof.
funny one was it was Sinead. It was a smaller theater. It was at a school, I think. I'm trying to remember. It was an odd gig, but it was a theater. But no, it wasn't a school. But like five guys get on the stage at once, right?
Hmm.
And it's just me, right? They got past. So there's guys. There's always security guys in front of the stage, right? These guys are like watching the show. So these guys hopped up, right? All at once. So, and I just go, "Here we go." So I just ran out.
Oh.
I just put a football block in every one of them one at a time, right? And I knocked them all off the stage. It took me like a minute or so. And then I, after the show, there's a knock on the door to the backstage dressing area. And I answer it, and Sinead's assistant answered it. She goes, "Oh, it's the guys that were on stage. They wanted to apologize, right?" And I go, "Sinead," I go, "the guys that jumped on stage." She goes, "Yeah, let them in." I go, you serious? So we did, and they were like, we're sorry, we just were having fun. I said, yeah, it's cool. I guess I hope nobody got hurt, but not a bright thing to do, because somebody like another security guy, you've seen them, you've seen the clips, they knock people out or they hurt them badly. And then the last one was again back in the Bangles days, Summerfest, Milwaukee, big stage, big tall stage, at least 12 feet, I think. And I'm in my position, stage left, just hanging in the behind stuff out of the way, but there if anything happens. And I look over and I see this big guy out of control being dragging one of the lighting guys or PA guys, just the guys that help set everything up, a smaller guy. He's got him around the ankle, and he's dragging him, and that's so. Then I start heading out, and it's a big stage, so I'm kind of far away, but I start running out, and this guy's bigger than me, right? And he's got to be on something because he's crazy. He's running straight for Susanna. I run out and I throw a hard body block into him, and all it did was stop him, right? And then he bounced it like a few feet, and then I got my wind, and when I did another one, I knocked him off the stage, which is 12 feet. I knocked him off the stage because he was this close. He was this close to getting to Susanna, and if he hit the microphone stand or whatever, she's going down. So I go to the side of the stage and I look down and I see this guy, and the security guys at Summerfest. That's a lot of them were cops, off-duty cops, right? They want to make extra money, and they're kind of jerks, actually, to be honest with you. But that's neither here nor there. So I look down and this guy's beating the shit out of these cops. So he was on something, like, but he was a big like farm boy, right? But I was like, okay, there's another one I dodged because this guy, if he's beating these guys up and it's just me, if we're wrestling or punching out on the stage, it's stupid to begin with. But so I was just glad I could knock him off the stage. But yeah, there's a bunch of the hardest one too. Another Sinead thing in Portland. End of the show, the stage goes dark, and before coming out for the encore, this girl gets on stage, big girl, and she's like yelling, Sinead, Sinead, and it's nobody's on stage, but all the gear is and guitars and everything. So I grab her, but I just put my arms, around her, trying to get her into like a easy headlock, which is what I normally would do. But it was a girl, I didn't want to like hurt her, but she was pretty strong, and again a larger girl. And I didn't want to throw her off the stage, so all I did was I just kind of took and bulldogged her through to the backstage, and there's security guys back there, and there's the door to go outside, and I just get her in the head of the push bar. So I just pushed her in the push bar and got her out, shut the door, and I look at the security guys and go, thanks a lot, great job, guys. They just stood there, didn't do anything. So yeah, those are, I tried to add it up one time. It's like 50, 60 times that I had to get physical, Again, one time a guy ran on stage, just goofball, right? I get him in a soft headlock. I walk him over. I go, all right, that was funny. Now just don't do it again. And I hand him off. And 10 minutes later, he's running out on stage again, right? Again, big stage, so it wasn't like anything tight, but I ran out. I put him in a not so nice headlock, gave a little squeeze. I said, that's it, you're done, and I had him thrown out. But, more a funny story. It's not anything, but Sinead didn't understand why people wanted autographs, first of all. But I told her, and it's the thing she even repeated to me not too long ago when I was talking to her. I used to tell her 1 means 100, right? If you're going to stop to sign an autograph, you might have to sign 100 because people are going to see that you're open to it, right? We're at the airport, sitting around. She goes, John, will you get me some coffee? I go, I can, but if I leave, people are going to put an autograph, and a bunch of other people do. You're signing every one of those autographs. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'll be fine. So I go get the coffee. I come back. she's surrounded, right? I stood there with the
Uh-huh.
coffee with the biggest grin on my face. She didn't even look. I told you. And then so from then on, she never asked me to go get a coffee again. It's like do a bad job of washing the dishes. You'll never get asked to wash dishes again, you know.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
But that was kind of a funny story. But anyways, um,
I imagine that you really have to think on your feet. Like you really have to be able to
it,
assess situations and think very quickly.
yeah, in every aspect of the music business, honestly, like if you're a guitar
Yeah.
tech, you have to, if you see something, you need to take care of it right away. Or if you see it might like even now, like we did Kaboo and Susanna's mic stand, because those things, those festivals are a nightmare for bands,
Yeah.
and you don't get a sound check, and you just kind of get a line check, and and you kind of rely on stagehands that are doing stuff, and you try to check as much as you can, but like Susanna's mic stands like drooping and stuff. So you got to run out. It's you got to if you don't get it, they're like looking, oh, why isn't anybody helping me? So you run out, you get it,
Mm-hmm.
and tighten it real quick, and then you run off. I had to do that because I still, as a tour manager, I stage watch, and again through all the years, um, Debbie didn't want anybody else tuning her drums or doing her drums. And the funny thing is, I'm not a real drummer. I can do drums to check drums. I can do a beat and a little roll and be funny. But tuning drums is an art, but it's one I
Mm-hmm.
just taught myself. I didn't like read books on it or what do I do? I just know what sounds right, and I know kind of you know and I had my own idea on what drums should sound like anyways, but um we're touring Japan with OK Go, this band OK Go, which is a really fun band, great videos. And the drummer came up to me, he's like, can you teach me how to tune my drums? I'm like, dude, you're a drummer. Serious? And you've probably been playing drums since you were a little kid. I'm not a drummer. But yeah, I'll show you what I do. It might not work for you. And so I do. But a lot of guys don't, you start with the bottom heads, right? A lot of guys don't
Mm-hmm.
do that. That's where you start, and if you don't, you're fighting a battle. And then snare drum is a trick of just I tighten the top head as tight as it'll go, put of a little patch of tiny cloth and gaff in one little corner, and it goes from this ting sound to a snap, but with a nice deep tone to it. So it, it's simple, but it's
Yeah.
this trial and error, which I did through, but I've tuned drums for 25 years. So, but again, it's not something I go out and like, yeah, let me do that. If somebody needs that, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you're tour managing, you're kind of like try not to do that kind of stuff because you're too much going on anyways. But we did one tour where I had to tour manage, drive, take care of merch, guitar tech, drum tech, and play percussion. So I played percussion with the Bangles for 7 years, 8 years, until they decided no more boys in the band at one point. Because we had a keyboard player too,
Mm-hmm.
Harpo, for many years. um, so I decided, and it's kind of my idea. I said, you guys should go back to being a garage band.
Mm-hmm.
Not this, we sound like the record band, or especially like the hits with all the keyboards and strings and this and that. I go, you're a garage band. You're like the best garage band ever, with great vocals. So they kind of did. And, but I was out, which was fine because I'm still tour managing, but I'm on stage playing percussion during during shows. Which the only time it was really great was we did Hard Rock Calling in London in Hyde Park, opening for we were the band before the Police,
Wow.
and um, that's a funny story too because we got there the night before. Tour bus pulls up to the venue. We weren't supposed to be there, but we did, and uh, Vicky and I started drinking, right, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, vodka tonics, and they had like little cups like this, right? But they had like the beer ones, right? So she goes, "Would you like?" I go, and it's a tent, it's a backstage tent, right? So just party place. So I grabbed the big cup like you're drinking right there, and I said, uh, "Vodka tonic," right? And so I had like a couple, two, three of those, and jet lag and no sleep, and but I got sick all over my hotel room. Like,
Oh.
and this isn't like late at night. And then the next day you have to get there early and you're there all day, but you're like, you get your riser set up and this and that. But um, and it's all on film, right? So, but anyways, I got to play in front of like 100,000 people, and I got introduced, and I'm like going, I have a million musician friends that would have been dying to be on a stage in front of this many people, and here's me, who's nobody, playing nothing, you know, gets to do it. But you can see me on film because the whole thing was filmed. I'm sitting on the side of stage, going like this because my throat was like razor blades from
Oh.
being sick. So,
Yeah.
and I
Oh.
relive it when I see it. I'm like, and it was so painful. And I'm not a big drinker, so it was like one time out of a million, that happened. But so, yeah, that was sort of a mistake. But again, kind of a cool moment that I made it through, so to speak. So, anyways,
So, getting some love from Nick Guzman, I
oh
think.
yeah, yeah, Nick is great. He's a great musician. Um, Great guy, and his mom, who's a beautiful person, beautiful human being, uh, passed away a few years ago, and she was his everything. But he's marching on. He's just a great guy, great singer, great
Mm.
musician. Writes, and I believe he was nonverbal as a child, um, autism, but he's amazing. He really is
Mm.
amazing. Um, I mean, he sings incredibly, and he's a musical savant. He really is. He's plays every instrument, um, sings in pitch, on key, everything he sings. So he's one of those guys. But yeah, and just a great guy and a great family. So hey
It's
Nick,
awesome. Yay.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, Maybelline 74 and Aaron Curtin saying John captured some amazing Bangles backstage memories over the decades. We're all grateful.
The
Yes.
Detroit girls, yeah. Yeah, good friends. Yeah,
um,
I actually, as a security or even tour manager, I made friends with the fans just because
yeah.
why not, you know?
Hmm.
And I would go, before a show or whatever, I'd go down in the crowd and just chat with them, and yeah, there's a good dozen of them we still keep in touch and are friends and stuff. Why not? You can never have enough friends,
Absolutely.
and they're all good people and stuff. So yeah,
Nick is saying, thank you, John, for giving me and my mom a shout out. I miss her so much.
of course, me
Yeah.
too.
Maybelline 74 is asking, as a tour manager, what was a really challenging request from an artist that you had to fulfill?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, well, the har- well the hardest, which was outdoor stage at a winery somewhere in Northern California. It was maybe it was East Coast. I can't remember. No, it was East Coast. It was somewhere. I think it was East Coast. Um,
Mhm.
it was so hot and blistering hot, like near 100 degrees, whatever. And they just had like these little stage fans and stuff, and I just know the girls were like miserable, and I go, and like, it's too hot up there. I go, doing whatever I can, and I one of the few times I lost it because I was hot, sweaty, and trying to just do what I could to make the stage livable for the set they were gonna do, and yeah, I was like, and they brought this giant fan that literally would blow people just off the stage. I go, okay, that's not working. Just do you have just some good small, fans we can put on everybody just to, keep a little air moving. So that was a challenge, and we really didn't. It was just miserable. Everybody was just sweating, and there's nothing we could do. So that was a challenge that I could not. I couldn't say, yeah, could you turn the air conditioning up or turn the sun down or whatever. Just it is what it is, and
Yeah.
but you still need to being asked to make it different. And so yeah, that's the only time I can think of. I mean, there's times where like I can't hear myself. I can't. pretty typical, right? As
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, so, but those are like you run over and you tell the monitor guy this, and this, and then if it's still not right, and and then like the girls use wedges for years and years, and they decided to try in-ears, and never really worked for them, you know.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I said it doesn't work for everybody, and it shouldn't doesn't have to, you know. You keep trying, and to have one ear and one out is kind of defeating the purpose too, you know. But I guess and so there was always that kind of, you know, struggle to get what they need to hear on stage, or somebody's playing too loud or whatever, you know,
Mm.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
just get things like that. So yeah, that's like I say, you're the dad. They come to you with everything. You know, they don't go to the sound guy, can you do this? They go to me and say, can you take care of this, or can you fix this, or whatever. So no,
Yeah.
but that's the job, you know. And yeah, you either love it or you hate it. If you hate it, don't do it. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Pudge the Band is asking, do you think we will get another Bangles tour?
very doubtful. Um, I think, I mean, never say never, and I can't speak for the girls, but yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of doing their thing. Susanna's doing a bunch of stuff. She wrote a book. She's writing movie script. Uh, I think she might be working on a second book, and she's also doing a lot of shows here and there. She's going to do a short tour with Billy Idol. She's doing a week, almost a week at the Carlisle Hotel in New York, like a residency thing. Um, and she does a lot of shows at Largo with different fun guests and things like stuff like that. Vicky and her husband John Calacci are going all over the country doing shows. They did a record. John's one of the Cowsills, and his brothers wrote a bunch of songs that didn't really get a lot of attention or even recorded. So they decided to, you know, do a kind of an album of those, and did, and it's really great. And they're great together. They've always been great together, and it's a great show. And they both sing like birds, and and Vicky will do a few Bangles songs here and there, and then Debbie's uh, moved out of LA, but she was doing stuff with Peter Buck from REM, and Scott McCoy up there, uh, and recording some stuff here and there too. So everybody's kind of busy doing different things, and I mean, if the Bangles ever get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, then you'd probably see them play together. There's nothing like, oh, we hate each other. It's just we've done this. We can keep playing the songs, you know, a million times. I mean,
Mm.
they were together since '99 until, and they're still together. They're really broken up, but way longer than they were the first time around. Was 81, one or two to '89. So that's a testament in itself to the, you know, and yeah, we had a lot of fun in those days. So, and then I want to give a shout out to this another charity thing we do, that I do work with, is Joey's Song in Madison, Wisconsin. It's once a year event. It's usually 2 3 nights, and it's raising money for childhood epilepsy.
Mm.
And Mike Gummel, who it's his baby, he had a 5-year-old son, Joey, who
Mm-hmm.
had epilepsy and passed away.
Mm.
So he started doing, I think, just getting friends. He worked in bars, and bars that I used to mix out in back in Madison, because Madison's just 45 minutes, hour away from Rockford, many years. So he worked in, you know, so he's friends with Butch Vig, who's drummer in Garbage, and produced Nirvana and a few other things. And so they started doing stuff, and it got bigger and bigger. And I just came on board about like 4 years ago now, because they were asking if Debbie could come, and I said, yeah. I said, but I have to come too, you know, that kind of thing. So, and then because of my experience, I've been sort of backstage managing and stage managing that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and last year we got what's his face, Johnny Resnick from the Goo Goo Dolls. We had a bunch of drummers. We had Stacy Jones, who's great. Debbie didn't come last year; she couldn't. But Vicky did, and Vicky and Debbie did it the year before, and Debbie did it the year before that. Um, and Matt Sorum, and we had Hugo from the Gang of Four. A bunch of drummers and uh, uh, Kay Hanley from Lars de Cleo. Um, we had Gina and Jane from the Go-Go's. So it's just a bunch of fun, great people, and there's a one night it's more acoustic and some Q&A stuff, and then the next night's full band and everybody doing their thing, and then kind of a battle of bands between boys and girls. So
Mm-hmm.
it's and the camaraderie is is incredible, and the group of people that work behind it, and it's just really well done, and raised. I know last year was a down year because we lost a lot of sponsors because of
Mm.
what's going on in the country financially and stuff. And a lot of sponsors were kind of pulled back because money's a little
Yeah.
tighter. But the year before, I think we did over 500,000. So
Wow,
it
that's
includes
amazing.
sponsorship and a lot of auction
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also selling tickets and this and that. But um, and last year we actually did a little over, I think, almost 350,000, which for not having sponsors was pretty good
Yeah.
too. So, and we're always trying to add people. And we had what's his name, the guy from Eve Six. He was great. Max, he was great. Everybody's great. It's
Yeah.
great music, and but just the camaraderie is just ridiculous. Like all the girls in one dressing room, right? And there's like 15 of them, and they're just all having a blast. So
Mm.
it's another labor of love that ends up being more fun than it should be, probably, and more just yeah. It's just I would not want to go. So
Mm-hmm.
so we do that every year, and again this year, and I'm trying to wrangle in some, you know, big names too, because that's what you need to really, We're like, hey, can you get Paul McCartney? I go, well, I know his band, but I don't know him, and I'm pretty sure he's probably not gonna want to come to Madison, Wisconsin in January, where it's 10 degrees out, or he's got other things to do. But so yeah, we're always trying to get bigger names, and I'm working on. I've got many connections, and so my friends do too. So and again, for your show, if you need people that are in the um, this side of the business of touring and stuff, I've got a great friend, but he's really busy too. But Brian Kehoe has worked with the Who for a long time, but he also does tours at Abbey Road. He's written books. He's just like a genius guy that's in the business, that's been on on the road for forever and ever, as well.
Yeah.
So let me know when we're off.
Yes,
If you want me
absolutely.
to recommend a few people, he's the one that comes to mind as a
That
guy
would be
that's probably got
awesome.
some stories that would amaze your fans and stuff too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, well, we did have a few more questions.
yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, you've lived a life that seems to be truly unique and had a chance to be around a lot of iconic artists. Can you talk a bit about what you think it is about those artists that makes them so magnetic and iconic? Do you think there's something that separates them from other artists?
Talent, number one. But I mean, yeah, there's a charisma that some people have. Um, I would have to say, well, one of the incredible times too. Bangles did the International Rock Awards in New York. I think it was 88 or 89, and it was I'm sitting in a room, and with everybody I grew up listening to in the room. Seriously, it was like I'm actually sitting on a couch with Alice Cooper, right? Who's
Hmm.
sweet, great guy. And I look over and there's a couple makeup, hair and makeup chairs, and Susanna's in one, and Keith Richards is in the other, right?
Hmm.
And then I look over here and there's Tina Turner, Eric Clapton, David Bowie, um, geez, who else? Grace Jones. She was crazy. Um, so like Robert Palmer, all these people that, especially like, Bowie and Clapton and all these people that, that I grew up listening to. So I'm going, I look around and go, and I never like try to be like amazed, or I don't bother people or whatever. I looked at Alice and I go, this is pretty cool. So, so that was one
Yeah.
of those moments where you're like, okay, who gets to do this too? To just hang out in a room and watch these people in their net. They're just hanging out, right? They were all
Mm-hmm.
like interested in talking to each other and just too. So I actually have a folder in my computer that I called Name Dropping 101, and just did all the people I've met, and there's
Yeah.
a whole one of actors and things like that because I've met a million of them
Mm-hmm.
through
Yeah.
Susanna a lot, but just through the years, and um, and those musicians, and it's just I'm just doing it for myself to see how like stupid I can get. It's like, oh, and I forgot about meeting that person. So it's you know when you, like I say, when you're around this many years, you're gonna meet a lot of them and stuff, and then just doing tours. We toured with Pat Benatar in Australia, and bands like I loved before touring with them and being friends with like the Hoodoo Gurus, this band from Australia. They're just like killer and have been for decades, and I still see them. I saw them play it a few years ago at the El Rey, and it's just like packed,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
they've been doing it since the '80s too, So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just again, like I say, if you love music and you want to be around it, it's a good way to go. You have to work hard. It's work.
Yeah.
It's not playtime. It's work. But if you enjoy your work, it's not work. So
Yeah. It also seems like you have to be like really flexible and adaptable and be able to just sort of learn new things as you go.
oh, absolutely. And you have to not be afraid to, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll try and fix anything around the house because I go, well, I'll try. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
try, And I go, oh, or like computers. Like I'm latecomer to computers, right? Was. Um, but I'll figure out stuff on my computer that other people who know computers can't quite figure out. Only because I go, I'm going to try this. I'm going to look for this. I'm not afraid to ask,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah, like I said, drum tech. I had never drummed. As a matter of fact, keyboard player on the tour, Susanna's tour. I go, look, I'm your keyboard tech, but I don't know shit about keyboards. So if anything goes down, you're going to have to fix it. And he just thought that was funny. He just thought that was funny. And he's great. He's a great musician too, Paul Trudeau. He he played for years with Billy Idol. He played with Melissa Etheridge, I think, and a few other people. But another funny story is we're on the road, and he looks just like Nigel Tufnell from Spinal Tap, right? He did back then. He looked just like him, right? And the two of us are out to breakfast. We're doing laundry and on the road on the Henley tour, and we're having breakfast. And he looks and he goes, you're a lot smarter than you look like you ought to be, right? And I just thought that was the funniest thing anybody's ever said to me. And I quit back. I said, oh, that's funny because you're not. He goes, yeah, that's me, smartass. Yeah, you try to smartass me. It's not gonna be easy to do because I'll keep coming. But yeah, that was pretty funny. So
We had another question from Pete Russo. Um, were there any tours you worked that you took solely for the income, but it ended up being a core memory of your life, if that makes sense?
no, um,
Hmm.
I mean the tour with the person who I'm not mentioning that I did several tours
Mm-hmm.
were all pretty difficult, and I kept
Mm.
saying I'm not doing this again. Um, but they would beg me to do it. They love me, blah blah blah, until I told them I'm not putting up with this shit. But
Yeah.
you know, um, and so in that regards, but they would beg me, and again, it was really really good money,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was more work than any other tours I had done. So I earned it for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I enjoyed the music, loved the music, loved that part of it. But the rest of it, um, And even you're not just dealing with artists, you're dealing with the road crew too. So you're in charge of all that. So I've had a few
Yeah.
road crew people that I want to just throw through a window.
Yeah.
Especially if I hired somebody, then that's different, right? But I'm just jumping on a tour and this is who I have, and I have actually tried to get people fired. I said this person is just making my life and making the other road crew guys' life miserable. And one person, uh, the artist wanted said, "Fine, let's get somebody else." But the manager was like, "No, you know, he we know he does what he does and does it well." I go, "I know a dozen guys that could do this job just as well
Mm-hmm.
that are actually
Yeah.
really great to be around." So it can be a little difficult in that. So, but yeah, no, and I've just done little um like goofy little tours. Like Judith Owen is great. She's Harry Shearer's wife, right? She's Welsh, funny as they come, super talented, great piano player, great singer, just great. But she's
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a big following, a huge following. But um, it was the easiest tour I've ever done. It was just her, I, and Leland Sklar, who's like a very famous bass player with a big long white beard and stuff. Played with 8 million people. It's just three of us, and it was first class. It was $70 a day per diem. $3,500 a week, and uh, the, the gear was a little Pelican case with a piano modeler that you plug in, and her wired in ears. That was it. And
Mm-hmm.
Leland just carried his bass. That was it. So
Wow.
no gear, no anything. Every place had a piano, or if they had a keyboard, we'd plug this in and they would use it. Um, and we did all over the U.S. and stuff. And she has very famous friends as well, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting. Um, and yeah, it was just the three of us, so it was just a laugh and a blast, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, so that was good money, but it was the easiest gig I ever had, I have to say. So
Yeah.
that I would do over again a million times. Um, yeah, the only and Belinda was great. That was fun. Um, who else? I just did a few shows here and there for some people, like Shelby Lynne, who's so talented and a character. I love her. Um, but she asked me to. There was a tour she was doing with a bunch of other artists, and she didn't want to ride on the bus. Right? They were
Mm-hmm.
going all over the U.S. It's a bunch of others, not country-ish. I can't remember who the other artists were because she's not really country. She's just a singer-songwriter that's incredible. Um, she asked if I would just rent a car, and the two of us would follow the bus all over the country. And I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm driving around this entire country in a car at at this stage of my career. I go, I love you, but no. And there's a bus going. Just get on the bus, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was one of the times I turned it down. It didn't even come to talking about money. I'm sure would have been that great anyways because it wasn't doing much of that. But she's great. I would work with her anytime. Other than that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get asked to do some things. I actually just got asked if I'd be interested in uh, doing tour managing a bad company, which I said, yeah, Paul Rogers and Simon Kirke were in the band, yeah, but it's not. It's all guys that have played in it, but those guys aren't in it, and so there's no
Mm-hmm.
originals. And I go, no, well, yeah, Paul Rogers, I'd do it for free. If Paul Rogers was, in bad company. That's a great singer he is, and I love his singing. Um, So yeah, you just get stuff like that, and but like I say, if you save your money, you can pick and choose. You can't just go, yeah, I need the money, I'll do it, even though I'll hate it.
Yeah.
That's my biggest advice to anybody in the business is save your money whenever you make it.
Mm.
If you have a good run, save it, live comfortably, but just know that you may have months and a year without working. If you really want to stick to what you want to do, or you have to go get a a real job. Selling insurance was my only real job ever,
Yeah.
and I would never go back to anything like that ever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, especially having, gosh, lived such an amazing life with so many. It's rich. It's a very rich life.
yeah,
Yeah.
and to see the world. I love travel, right? To see the world and get paid to do it,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Yeah, it really is. Um, ridiculously great, you know. And like I say, flying the Concorde was like it's like being in a rocket ship, you know. And it's just and then you can't do it anymore. They don't have unless they're going to do another supersonic jet, but they just don't. I mean, from New York to London in 3 hours, something like that.
Wow. Amazing.
So, yeah, that was one of the like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this moments, and yeah, I've had many, but yeah, like I say, you have to keep a even keel while you're touring, otherwise you can just get burned out. So, and I try not if somebody asks me to do a tour, if it's like 6 months, I'm not, you know, unless it's somebody I love, you know. If the Bangles are doing 6 months, yeah, I'll do it, you know. But if it's just somebody like, yeah, we're doing a 6 month tour, it's great pay, this and that, it's not at that stage in my life, you know, not a
Yeah.
teenager. But I did the riding in a van all over the country tours, you know. I paid
Hmm.
my dues, and we did shows. We did shows in those days. I mean, we did 5, 6 shows with the Ramones, which was, you know, like early Ramones. Like it was, those were like experience like none other and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah, I've had a
Yeah.
good life. I've had a great life,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
How do
I
you
still am.
stay even keeled, like when things get really stressful or?
So that's kind of so I have a temper, of course. I'm Italian, so again, piss me off, you'll find out. But for the
Yeah.
most part, like I say, that when they say the coolest guy in the room, or the, you know, so even who was it? I think it was Susanna. Somebody just said, whenever I'm with you, there's a sense of calmness, and that
Hmm.
makes makes it easier for me, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's being calm, and then even like situations come up. Like I've had my sound guy like freak out over something and stuff. I go, dude, it's no big deal. Like, it's supposed to have a drum riser that's this tall, and this, you know. I said, dude, it's fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, but I want you, you know, worried that you know, he didn't do his job. I go, I know you. I know what you asked for. It. They don't have it, or we don't have it. We'll be fine. You know, kind of
Hmm.
thing. So it just, um, yeah. Well, people are freaking out around you. You just have to go, dude. It's okay. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's. I guess it's just who I am. I don't know. It's not like
Hmm.
anything I try, like, oh, I have to be like this or that. It's just who I am. And I guess, and like you were mentioning, yeah, I worked with a lot of women. I respect women very highly. I respect their talent. They're just who they are as people, and that helps a lot too. Because, um, and you know, that's how I was raised, and that's how I feel. So, um, and again, not I don't try to like be bossy to anybody, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and just treat people how you'd want to be treated. And I think that's a success to anything you do. You can be a lot more successful. Yeah, you have to get tough sometimes or make decisions, but you don't have to do it, be a jerk about it, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Solid wisdom, because I feel like, for people
Well,
that want to, that really want this to be able to work,
yeah,
and obviously it served you for 50 years, like you were saying.
yeah,
You've been able to have like a successful career.
yeah, absolutely. And like I say, I could have done a lot more, but I just pick and choose, you know? And that's a luxury. But again, um, you know, again, if you've done it this many years, you do have that choice. And yeah, to make a really good living and love 99% of it. Who gets to say that, right? So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you have to love music too, because if you just do it because you know it's a business and I want to make money, you're not going to last because people are going to
Yeah.
realize you don't care. You care about yourself instead of care about the artists or the people that work for. I treat the crew as well as I do an artist too. You know, and
Hmm.
that's important. Make sure they're comfortable, they're happy, blah blah blah. That they're not, you know. So yeah, yeah. I guess a little wisdom thrown out there. Whether anybody takes it or not,
Oh,
who
it's
knows?
always appreciated. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I was curious about the album I'm seeing behind you. If you could tell me what that is.
It's just a platinum album of the everything Bangles everything album, um, which had Eternal Flame uh, and all that on it. So
Wow.
even though like the album before it had Walk Like an Egyptian, If She Knew What She Wants. What was the other hit that they had off of that? Like three songs off of that one. But yeah, this is so I was with them when that record was out, but and I was with them before they recorded this one. But this was the only one. Well, this isn't the only one because they recorded "Sweetheart of the Sun" and um, but they didn't get platinum records. And I think this went double platinum at some point, in fact. But
Wow.
yeah, it's just
Amazing.
it's
Yeah.
a minor perk if you know if you're around when things happen. Well, Sinead had a bunch of them, right? And
Hmm.
I was at her house. She actually took me to Dublin for a week of craziness with her, just between tours between the U.S. and she actually paid my salary, flew me first class, paid for everything the whole time we were in Dublin. And then we went for 3 days to London to her house in Golders Green that she had before starting the European tour. And she had a whole pile of them, right? She goes, "You want these?" I go, "Yeah, it'd be nice, but they're yours." And how would I ever get them back to you know, America, right? I was still living in Rockford then, you know, but I wish I had, you know, because she's gone
Mm.
now, and who knows what she did
Yeah.
with them. She didn't care about that kind of stuff at all. She didn't care about
Yeah.
being famous. She just didn't get it, and which is admirable, you know. She just wanted to be an artist. She didn't want to be a pop star or whatever, you know. So, and she had obviously, I don't know if you followed her at all, but she had a lot of issues later in life and stuff, and um, but yeah, she'd always reach out to me and just you know um, actually you know wanted me to help her and stuff, and I tried, but
Yeah.
yeah, but yes, it was a chapter that's ended sadly, unfortunately, because it was you know just through the years just keeping in touch and but seeing her go through that was really tough. Again, I don't know if you saw it, but it was really rough. She was posting stuff that's you know really crazy, but um, and I didn't know she had any health issues, but apparently she had a bad heart. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, to even just live this long is a bonus, you know. Not that I'm that
Yeah.
old, but you know. So yeah, I've had too many friends recently, music friends and stuff, and every day there's somebody new. But yeah, so it's the other tough part about it is it's like having a not quite the same thing, but like having a dog, right? I love my dog. I rescued him. He's 4 years old now, and I'm like going, I don't ever want you to age, right? Because
Mm.
I don't want to be there the day that you know, because dogs have short lives and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
so it's that kind of thing. It's like, um, yeah, you get those close relationships with people that you love and admire, and you know, just age and everything, health things just come into play. So stay healthy too. That's my other advice. I work out every day and just try to keep in shape and stay as healthy as I can because big part of just being happy too. So
Yeah.
sorry to get into
Yeah.
philosophical here with you know other stuff about
No,
other
I
people, but
love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I guess it is one of those things where it's like trying to I guess be as much like live as much as you can while you have it and to be able to love the people that you do and have those experiences while you can.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
say I mean, I try to be happy every day, you know, no matter
Yeah.
what, you know, and I try to just, if something, if so in business, if issues come up, I say deal with it right away, get it
Hmm.
off your plate, you know, and that's how I live the rest of my life. Like, oh, here's a problem with whatever, deal with it, get it off your plate. But you have to in touring business. You know, problem comes up, it's got to be dealt with right away. So it kind of that helped me in my personal life of just, you know, you procrastinate on something, it's going to bother you. It's going to be the back of your mind. You know, "Ah, I got to do this. I got to do this." You do it, done. It's out of your mind. It's out
Yeah.
of, and you're out of your mind. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
another little tidbit of you know, and I was going to get a. Nobody has business cards anymore, but my business card would just say, "I get shit done." So what do you do?
That would be an yes.
I get shit done. What do you like? The funny thing is, like Susanna will go, "I want to get one of these guitars." So I'll like go 10 minutes later. I go, "Okay, I got it lined up. I got it. Well, let me think about it." 6 months later, did you want? No, well, yeah, maybe I. And you know, I got it still lined up, but you know, it's like somebody asked me to do something. I pick up the phone and I do it right then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's not once in a while. It's like, no, I didn't really mean right away. And you do it right away.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. What else you
Uh,
got?
um, oh, this is awesome. Nick said, "Eternal Flame was one of my favorite songs, along with Walk Like an Egyptian and If She Knew What She Wants."
There you go.
Um,
You
and
have to
Dusty
imagine
Chuck.
though. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like some of those songs, especially the "Walk Like an Egyptian,"
Hmm.
if you've heard it 1,000 times, you don't really need to hear keep hearing it. And I guess them playing it, you know, that's another thing too. Like a band has so many songs. They have I mean, they have a huge catalog, but they're going to play those songs that people want, for the most part, that people want to hear. And it's just like once you've played it like 1,000 times, it's like, okay, can we just do something else that we want to do? So there's that part of it too. When you know, with a band of longevity like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hate to say it, it's like, yeah, oh, it's great you get to hear the song. And I go, you know, it's great to hear songs like that. They when they dug up the old songs from the first EP and stuff, like the really garage rock kind of cool stuff song. That was like my favorite period of working with the Bangles. And they actually kind of went back to the garage and just, you know, rocked out these songs and sang them great. So that's me. I'm more of a rocker dude, anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
as I say.
I love in the chat that people are sharing that um, the philosophy that you shared about like just living each day as if it was your last. This is from
Mhm.
Phoenix Jade. And also Dusty Chalk sharing, with our loved ones, they have shorter lives, especially our fur babies, but ours are so enriched by having them in our lives that I, for one, wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Duh.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
But it's almost more heartbreaking than Friends, you know,
yeah,
weirdly,
yeah.
but it just kind of is. But yeah, I totally agree. I've had dogs my whole life. Like a short period after losing a dog, I took a break because it was that tough. But
Yeah.
no, and I wanted to rescue, so I did and got the best dog on the planet, I think.
Ah.
So
Yeah. Well, if there are any other questions in the chat, y'all, please feel free to drop them. In the meantime, and thank you for hanging out with us and sharing your awesome questions. Yeah,
and
it's
if I check it out later and there's more things in the chat, I might pop in and try to answer something. I can't promise, but
awesome.
you know, if that's
Yes,
possible to
yes,
do, um,
yeah.
if I
Hmm.
see somebody's question wasn't that was interesting that wasn't asked here, I'll check it out because I'm sure I'll look at watch it one time or part of a time to see how stupid I looked or whatever, you know.
Not at all. I really appreciate you taking the time to, share your stories and your wisdoms. Like, I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, well, I appreciate that you're doing what you're doing too, because it's interesting for people and it's nice, very nice.
Well, I think it's amazing, that you started off like not even knowing. I imagine like if you could probably know from the very beginning, like I'm gonna be doing all of these crazy adventures all over the world, right?
Yeah.
Probably
No,
didn't
there's no
know.
way. No, there's no way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I said, when I quit my job to just do this, it was only be a couple weeks. I go, I don't care. I have saved money, had a house, not big payments, all this stuff, which you can do in Rockford easily, very easily.
Yeah.
And it's not LA. But so I was going to be fine for a good year or so, at least, without if and I didn't work. But yeah, the fact that and I had no idea what I was going to do after, and they added a few weeks, and even for that, I was making twice what the band was making. I was making $200 a week for
Hmm.
for that tour, in a van. We drove 13,000 miles in that tour, and the Bangles were cool. Would take our gear, and then if we had a day off and the girls were flying, they would let us, all but who was having to drive the van, take ride in their bus, which is very cool of them too at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had no idea what I was going to do, and I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing the next few months. Be busier than I want to be. So there you go. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's one of those jobs that it's not a job that I mean. I met like Tom Petty's people, right? Tour manager had been with him for like day one, and he's still with them, until Tom passed away. Um, so so there's some of that, but the most it's here and there, jump from one to
Yeah.
another or jump from one to nothing. So yeah, I had no idea. I just knew that this makes me happy. So keep doing
Yeah. I love that.
it.
I think honestly that philosophy can be applied to anybody in any field.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why I throw it out there. It's like, well, and to see so many of my friends like hate their jobs, right?
Mm, yeah.
I said I'm never going to do a job that I hate, and I'm just not, you know. Um, I mean, I have a degree in biology and chemistry, right? Yeah, and then what? You know what I mean? Never used
Hmm.
it, but
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it. I had the college experience, and I got a degree, and um, that's all I can do is say, yeah, I have it, but I never used it. I did use the how to gain knowledge many ways because I didn't even read books. I didn't crack a textbook. I just went to classes and paid attention, took notes.
Mm,
So
yeah.
everybody does things differently, but that was my way of learning and fairly knowledgeable, I think.
And it's worked for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Even though
Yeah.
I haven't, I mean, the only things you can use that for is Trivial Pursuit, like the science questions and stuff. I always knew the answer, so I was a good partner. Trivial Pursuit
Yes.
like that. But
Yes.
anything else, literature or any of the other stuff, not so much.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyways,
oh, Nick is saying, be sure to check out my song from my LP after all these years. And Tom and Steven. Yes, we'll definitely check that out. Thanks for
yeah.
sharing that. Well, do you have any parting wisdoms for us?
I think I'm out of wisdoms. I think I've
You've shared
exhausted
quite
all
a
the
few
wisdom.
gems.
Um,
There's been some solid
let's
gems.
see. Let's see. But I do have some sayings. What are my sayings? Well, like I said with Sinead, I go one means 100, right? You know,
Oh,
that kind of
yes.
thing. But that's
Yes.
not really a philosophy. That's just a saying that, oh, walk and talk. That's another one that I use all the time. Like people, like you're trying to get out of somewhere, you get the band somewhere, and they're like, stop to talk. I go, walk and talk, walk and talk. And then it's funny because Sinead, when I saw her, um, it's been a few, right before COVID, I
Hmm.
actually picked her up at her hotel and drove her down to the Belly Up in Solana Beach to do her show. And we spent the whole ride talking and having a blast and catching up. And she kept repeating all these things that I told her literally like what 1990 was 30 years ago, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
was, she still had it. She was repeating those things, and I was just like, that made me proud, because I was just shit
Yeah.
I would say back then. It wasn't anything like I really thought about or anything. I just go, let just walk and talk, come on, or one means 100, just so you know. So,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, I guess I just say, live it, enjoy every day.
Yeah.
That's it. If
Yeah.
you're not, change something.
Mm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I happen to be one of those weirdos that I don't get depression, never had, don't know what it even feels like, anxiety, don't know, which again, most people I do have some sort of this and that. So I just think I'm a little freakish in that way that never had a suicidal thought
Mm.
ever, not once. Um, and so I'm just grateful for that, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful
Yeah.
that I was raised well, Midwest. Parents were teachers. Dad was like the guy that would help everybody. That's me.
Mm.
People like, hey, can you help me move? Can you help me do this? Yeah. Can you give me a ride to the airport? Yeah. You know, be that guy
Yeah.
because it works out. It comes back to
Yeah.
you.
I
So
can see that. Yeah. Well, dear friends, thank you again for joining us for another episode of Unwritten Rules of the Road. John, thank you
yeah,
again
yeah,
for
Tosh.
hanging out with us. This has been
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. I'd love to see your band one day if you're
Yes,
interested.
yes. I will have to. I'll have to share our show coming up actually this coming weekend. But I'll let you know about all the shows when we do
All right.
play.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you, friends. Sending much love and hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Yes, we're so Alice is playing this coming weekend, but we will be resuming Unwritten Rules of the Road in July.